About the Eagles. After dethroning the back-to-back Super Bowl champion Chiefs in Super Bowl 59, Eagles went into last season with championship expectations, but their issues on offense eventually caught up with them and led to an early exit in the first round of the playoffs. ESPN's Tim McManus pulls back the curtain on what helped derail the Eagles and their star-studded offense this past season.
What a game, what a season, what a team. The greatest Eagles team in modern history.
Jalen Hurts is a Super Bowl MVP, a three-time Pro Bowler, and one of the winningest quarterbacks of his era. But heading into the 2026 season, Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles are at a crossroads. The passing game has been subpar for more than 2 years, despite having the most expensive offensive roster in football, with a cash value of over $195 million, featuring star receivers A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Brown's frustrations have been well documented and could lead to him being traded this offseason. But he's not the only one who has felt boxed in. While there is plenty of blame to go around, sources say Hurts has pushed back on changes that would diversify the offense and goes off script from the game plan, at times switching two plays that haven't even been installed. One team source described Hurts as, quote, not always coachable, and the players notice. Hurts has been able to block out the distractions, a quality that comes in especially handy in a rabid sports town like Philly. But the hard shell can also make him difficult to communicate with. Teammates and staff members have urged him to do a better job at connecting with players and coaches, an area Hurts has shown progress in despite his introverted nature.
I love it, every play. Let's go, win on 3, 1, 2, 3, win!
On the flip side, Hurts' steady, if rigid, vision has been a stabilizing force through constant turnover at offensive coordinator. Sean Mannion will be his 6th play caller since entering the league in 2020. The Eagles expect to reshape the offense yet again next season, this time with a Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay-style system, the most dramatic overhaul yet under coach Nick Sirianni. It will lean heavily into under-center play action and motion, two areas the Eagles haven't majored in, due in part, sources said, to Hurts' reluctance. But one team source says that Hurts is, quote, as open as he's ever been to changes. The offense has relied heavily on Saquon Barkley and the ground game, and the organization believes it has to evolve. The direction is set. Now it's up to Hurts to lead the way.
Again, that was our Tim McManus, who, along with Jeremy Fowler, wrote the story on ESPN.com. You should check it out. Much more in there. But, Booger, listening to what Tim had to say there, what did you take away from the piece?
Well, I think it's kind of ironic that all this comes out. Like, if you watch Jalen Hurts over the course of his career, you kind of know what he is. You know what his limitations are. And I think when you go back to Shane Steichen and you look at Kellen Moore, they understood who he was, and they play design and play call to that fact. And I think right now we're seeing, with the frustration of A.J. Brown and the simplicity in the passing game that we all documented and talked about last year, everyone is pointing the finger at a lot of different people. And truth be told, there's enough blame to go around. And Jalen Hurts deserves some of that blame. I think when you looked at the Eagles offense last year, it was super simple. Some people called it high schoolish, and a lot of people are saying that was because of Jalen Hurts. I think everybody collectively, led by Nick Sirianni, needs to get in the room and understand, hey, in order for us to get back to where we want to go, we all have to evolve. We have to evolve from an offense that's just going to be Saquon Barkley and throwing slants and go routes. We got to get to this under center play action. And what does that mean? Jalen, you got to turn your back to the defense and come out and find the safeties and read everything. And so I think there is some truth to this, but I think we already knew what Jalen Hurts was. And for this to come to light now further kind of illuminates some of the issues that's been going on in Philadelphia.
Yeah, Boog, let's start. I think it's important to start by just reminding people of the resume of Jalen Hurts, a Super Bowl MVP once, the best player on the field in the other Super Bowl that he played, which Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs won. Mahomes got the MVP, but Hurts was brilliant in that game as well. He's a very talented player. He's also got a very specific skill set that is different from most of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. It's Philadelphia. It's a pressure cooker. It's a massive season ahead. I am stating the obvious in noting that. What I'm most interested by is this fit. As Tim McManus referenced, a Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan type offense is not one where the quarterback is winning with constant second reaction plays. That's one of Jalen's great strengths. Is if things don't look good on first blush, he can buy some time and make things happen with his legs or arm on second blush. This is a rhythm and timing offense. Is he the right quarterback to architect this kind of offense? Massive question for this year.
Yeah, there's no question about it. I mean, look, some of the numbers that Tim McManus referenced in that piece, the Eagles ranked 29th last year in motion usage, 27th in under center plays, and 19th in play action. What they love to do is run the ball. Only 6 teams called designed rushes at a higher rate. So I want to push on what you were just saying. We talk about this McVay, Shanahan, LaFleur style offense. The premise is, hey, we can get guys open. Find them, get us 4 more downs, right? Like that's what they want. Is Jalen Hurts the kind of? Do you see him being the kind of guy that, especially in one-off season, can transform in the way he would need to?
Right. This is a gigantic season. It needs to go well, or further change could be coming, and you're going to play an entirely different style than the way that he has played, not just under the previous 5 offensive coordinators, but all the offensive coordinators he played at during his time at Alabama and also Oklahoma. I don't think this is a perfect fit for him, truthfully. You think about some of the quarterbacks that have thrived in this system, right? The MVP of the NFL this past season, Matthew Stafford. Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant when he entered the league, but part of the appeal is that he's a distributor. He plays on time. He plays with great anticipation. These are big challenges here for Jalen Hurts, and we're talking about the possibility, which at least to me feels very real, of him getting the job done without A.J. Brown, right? Which enters a whole different question into this conversation book.
I just think when you look at it, I think the kind of perception and reality thing is that the best player on every team usually is the quarterback, and that usually is the highest paid player. He's the highest paid player on the Eagles. And so I think where we talk about Jalen Hurts and his specific skill set, Phil, I think when I pay you $52 to $55 million a year, I expect you to play above your skill set. He needs to be the best player on the field and play like that. And I think there's some frustration, whether it's with the receivers, whether it's some of the offensive coordinators. They interviewed 50 people for the job. I don't think it took 50 interviews to find a guy that needed to work with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. I think they were trying to figure out somebody that could get the best and bring the best out of Jalen Hurts, because regardless of how we look at it, he's the highest paid player on the team. And I think the perception is that we shouldn't have to work around the highest paid player on the team's limitations in our offense. He should be carrying this offense. And right now, based on what we saw last year, he's not doing that.
There does need to be some sort of meaning in the middle, in the sense that, it's good that you have your system and you're Sean Mannion, a first-time play caller. You also have to cater to the strengths of, as you said, the highest paid player on the team. I don't know what $55 million is like to make in a year. Boog might. But you have to find a way to meet in the middle a little bit with Jalen Hurts for this to be successful over the long term, not just in the beginning, but over the long term.
Huge offseason for the Eagles and a huge task ahead for first-time offensive coordinator Sean Mannion. Still to come on NFL Live, Fernando Mendoza will likely be the first quarterback taken in the NFL draft, but is he going to be ready to start right away? Booger and Field will weigh in on that when we come back. Stay tuned. You're watching NFL Live.